Hello and welcome to Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. On today's show, we'll catch up with Laura Jones, New Jersey's leading political reporter, fresh off moderating the state's largest debate in history. Later, we'll explore the charming Jersey Shore town of Lake Como. But first, I chatted with New York Times bestselling author Adriana Trigiani at her book launch, where she shares the inspiration behind her latest novel, rooted in both New Jersey and Italy, and reflects on her remarkable career as one of America's most beloved storytellers. Two towns, one name, and a story that connects them in a way only a master storyteller could imagine. Today on Your New Jersey, we chat with best-selling author Adriana Trigiani, whose latest novel, The View from Lake Como, brings together the charm of the Jersey Shore with the romance of Northern Italy.
And the character is 33 years old. Her name is Giuseppina Capodimonte Barata Balancia. She just got divorced.
Set in 2005, The View from Lake Como follows Jess, a 33-year-old draftswoman rebuilding her life, emotionally and structurally, all while living in her Italian parents' basement in a small Jersey town on the verge of transformation. The novel begins when the town of South Belmar officially becomes Lake Como, a change that parallels the shift Jess is going through herself. When you were researching for your next book, how did you stumble upon Lake Como, New Jersey?
Well, we were at a wedding at St. Catherine's. And I said to my husband, this is 15, 16 years ago, let's drive around. We fell in love with it. And when I saw Lake Como, I said, oh my gosh, there's an American Lake Como. What's happening? So that led me down a path. And in 2005, I believe, you changed your name from South Belmar to Lake Como, New Jersey. And evidently, the change of the name completely changed the fate and direction of the town. You added to it by changing the name. And oddly enough, I was thinking about writing a character who has to reinvent herself. What better historical backdrop than the reinvention of Lake Como, New Jersey? I mean, it was perfect. And then I picked a house and I began to build a world around the lake. This lake and the vibe of the people and the beauty and the ocean just a block away, it is every bit as beautiful as Italy. It's important that we recognize the work that went into this to make this town into this oasis. It's like Lombardy, Italy to me. It's an oasis.
So you're not a Jersey girl.
I'm not a Jersey girl. However, I do lay a little bit of claim because when I was a kid, this was the Italian-American Riviera. All my family members came here for vacation, from the previous generations to the current ones. So I always felt like New Jersey was where the ice show was in Atlantic City, and where the beach was, and the Steel Pier, and all that great stuff. I mean, New Jersey was, and I have a lot of relatives here, and my grandmother and grandfather, the love story started in Hoboken. So we claim it. We love our Jersey.
The result is a story that's deeply local and deeply universal. Adriana Trigiani grew up in a working-class Italian-American family in Big Stone Gap, Virginia, and built a literary career out of the stories no one else was telling. Her voice has become a signature, warm, witty, and fearless. She's written more than 20 best-selling books, directed major feature films, and earned acclaim for her unique ability to find the epic in everyday life.
I think some of your viewers might know that I'm a playwright and I write and direct movies. So I'm a dramatist. I came into novel writing as an accident, which is why I say follow the accidents sometimes, they pay off. But so I had this story and I wrote it and I gave it to one of my best friends since I moved to New York. And she said, this is a novel. And I wrote it, get up early every morning. Of course, I didn't have a child then. You can relate to that one. When you don't have a child, it's much easier to control your time. And so I got up early in the morning and that gave birth to Big Stone Gap. And now we're 21 in.
You're 21.
Yeah, it's a lot.
How many do you have in the pipeline?
Many. I'm not going to live long enough to write them all. That's sad to me in a certain way, but, you know, I focus on the people of my family. And just today, when we were talking before this camera rolled, we talked about writing cookbooks. We taught family cookbook, or we talked about painters. This is Diane's beautiful work of art. We talked about artisans, craftsmen in the Italian tradition. And all of that comes into play when you're thinking of ideas. So some of the ideas that I had, Big Stone Gap, I'm not kidding, that was like 22 years. I wrote a scene when I was in high school that I kept, and it eventually ended up in that novel, the first novel.
Wow.
So don't throw anything out.
No.
Don't throw anything out, never, never, never. And don't throw your ideas out, because ideas, that's the jet fuel of what you're gonna create.
So with the view from Lake Como, do you have a vision of turning this into a movie?
Well, yes, of course. But I don't have it when I'm writing a book. I have it afterwards, and I go, well, I say, okay, now if I were gonna, it's a different skill set. You know, we were talking about, you'd watch Big Stone Gap, the movie, and said, well, I like the book better. Well, so do I, but that you can't dramatize everything in a book. Now, if somebody gave me a retake on that, I'd make it a series, so that all those scenes would have been in there.
Your mind swirls with ideas. You're so creative all day long. So how do you make the time now? Don't you need to be like in a dark hole?
Yeah,
to really
when I'm
focus
writing,
in?
absolutely. Absolutely, no music, no sound, nothing, dark thinking, yeah, every day. But I have a secret to that, is I get up very early. Now that means I also go to bed early, which is a bummer. I'm just gonna say it, because I like the nightlife. But I don't really have that when I'm working on a book. I go to bed really early and I get up really early when it's quiet. And you can get 4 hours in the morning. And 4 to 5 hours is pretty good a day. Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Whether it's the whole towns of Virginia or the kitchens of northern New Jersey, her stories always come back to the same themes: family, identity, and the power of ordinary people. So what do you want viewers to know about your newest and greatest?
You know, I just noticed the women in my family, and the men are good men, but the women really maintain, build, and nurture the family. And I never saw them complain. And they were doing 3 and 4 jobs. And in my tradition happens to be Italian. They worked in a mill, they took care of their aging parents, they took care of their own children. Sometimes the marriages worked out, sometimes they didn't. There was all that to navigate and negotiate. And if you come to see the Lake Como show, I celebrate the women in my family. And it's very funny, and I think you're also gonna find truth in it from your own family. See, women don't seek recognition for their accomplishments. It's a problem. You've done the work, you've run the race, you've improved the community, the family, you've held it together, you keep the stories.
In The View from Lake Como, Adriana draws a powerful connection between 2 towns with the same name. One famous for its Hollywood-worthy landscapes, and the other quietly nestled in Monmouth County. Adriana doesn't romanticize either town. Instead, she elevates them, showing that meaning can live in marble columns or municipal buildings, in cobblestone courtyards or Jersey Shore front porches. At its core, The View from Lake Como is about reinvention, about making peace with your past and finding the strength to imagine something new. Well, Adriana, this was so much fun. Thank you so much, and I cannot wait to get some time and read this on the beach.
I know, this isn't your beach read, with a little bit of gravitas, but it'll mean something to you.
Those are the best kind of beach
reads. Yeah,
reads.
that's the best kind of beach read.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Diane, for my Sunsets of New Jersey.
In Jess, Adriana created a character who reflects the beauty of resilience. And in Lake Como, New Jersey, she found a setting that shows how even small towns can hold the weight of big stories. From the lakes of northern Italy to the streets of the Garden State, Adriana Trigiani's storytelling reminds us that home isn't just where we're from, it's where we find ourselves again. We just heard from best-selling author Adriana Trigiani about her new novel, The View from Lake Como. Now, let's see why this Jersey Shore town made the perfect inspiration. From its rich history to its small-town charm, we explored Lake Como to find out what makes it such a unique destination at the shore. It's a town that might be easy to miss if you're not looking for it. Just 1 square mile tucked into the Jersey Shore. But Lake Como, New Jersey is now in the spotlight, thanks to a best-selling book, a name change nearly 2 decades ago, and the pride of a community that's always known who they are. Before it was Lake Como, this small borough was known as South Belmar. In 2005, the town voted to adopt a new name, one that better reflected its waterfront character and helped distinguish it from its neighboring communities.
So Lake Como is a small town. It's about a 1/4 mile square. It's surrounded by Belmar, Wall Township, and Spring Lake. It was incorporated in 1924 as South Belmar, broke off from Wall Township. And then in 2006, there was a movement by some of our citizens to rename the town to Lake Como, which has really changed the feel and the culture of the town. It is a beach community without a beach. So our beach is Belmar Beach, and we share a lot of services with Belmar. We are kind of like a little sister town to Belmar.
The name Lake Como, where did it come from?
So the area was called or known as the area of Como, and the lake was always Lake Como. Actually, when I was a kid, we used to call it Como Lake.
Yeah, well, Lake Como, Italy, if you've ever been, is probably one of the most gorgeous places ever. And this, though, rivals it. I mean, the houses are so gorgeous and manicured. And honestly, until today, I didn't know this existed here.
Yeah, it's, I used to say that Lake Como, New Jersey was the best kept secret around.
It really is.
And the more press we get, I tell people to stop telling everybody about Lake Como because we're not going to be a secret anymore.
So you say you share a lot of services with Belmar.
Yep.
What do you have that's your own?
So we have infrastructure that is our own, right? We own our own water system, we have our own DPW, we have our own mayor and council, our own form of government, we have our own ordinances and laws within our town. We used to have a Lake Como Police Department that just became too expensive to maintain. It was a very small force of 9 or 10 police officers. And in 2016, I believe, we made the move to partner with Belmar for their police services. So their first response emergency services with Belmar is police, fire, and first aid.
The name may have changed, but the values didn't. Lake Como remained a tight-knit, hard-working community, where local pride runs as deep as the lake itself. When New York Times best-selling author Adriana Trigiani chose Lake Como as the setting of her newest novel, it wasn't just a fictional backdrop. It was a celebration of everything the town stands for. An event like this, to have a New York Times bestselling author make a book about your town, partly, I mean, what does that do to you and your profile here?
So I don't know. It's never happened before. So I don't know if it's going to be, if it's going to hit a certain demographic of people that are going to come to see where the book starts. It's a very enchanting tale of a person living in Lake Como, New Jersey that goes to Lake Como, Italy. So there is a fandom for this author. I just met her for the first time. She's lovely. She's hilarious, by the way, too. And I wonder what that's going to do for that group of people that follow her, that read her books. Are they going to come here? Is it going to be some type of tourist attraction just to see where this book starts? You know, I've read books, historical books and not historical books, where you finally get to go see those places in real life. And it's pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see what that does for the town.
You were instrumental in putting this event together here today.
Yeah, I have read her books before, and when I saw that there was going to be a book event in July, and this was like back in January or February, I saw that Thunder Road in Spring Lake had posted something about this event, and I saw the title of the book. I thought this would be such a great opportunity to bring this wonderful author, like not knowing that she'd done so much research here already. My mom introduced me to this author years and years ago, and then to see that she'd written a book about Lake Como was just incredible. So it felt like such a great time to bring her here and like have some pictures together, introduce her to the town.
Yeah, I mean, to have that prolific author that you followed for years writing about your town, it must have felt like an out-of-body experience.
Absolutely.
For residents, it was more than a book event. It was a moment of recognition, the kind that doesn't come often to towns this size, but feels right at home here.
We have such a special community. In the past, I've called this a little town with a big heart. I think that there's only something like 1,700 residents here. Not everyone is year-round. I think when the summer population hits, obviously it grows. But we're sort of like a sister town with Belmar, where our children go to the Belmar Elementary School. We can check out books from the Belmar Library. You know, we share our services with the town of Belmar, but we're still making independent decisions in our town about, you know, what works best for us. For example, years ago, we decided to apply for some grants to beautify the lake. So it used to be just this sort of gravel path. We always had a gazebo, but like the plants and the flowers and all of that, that's all been added new. The path was made new. So it's really beautiful to walk your dog around the path or just, you know, take a couple laps around. And I think to myself, I can't believe how lucky I am to live here. The ocean is right there. The lake is right here. We try to have activities around the lake.
Yeah.
So tonight we have a music event. I think once a month, the Tourism Commission is having acoustic bands play here at the gazebo. You can come out and watch them.
Cool.
And then we have a really big event in the fall called Lake Como Day. And it's like, after the summer population has left, it's really like a nice time for all the residents to get together. It's all up and down the lakefront here, and we have fireworks, and we have vendors and crafts, and lots of stuff for kids. It's a really like a family-friendly event. So live music, that kind of thing. It's when you get to see everyone from town at the end of summer, basically. So it's a really great community.
So what is it about Lake Como that inspires this kind of story? It's not just the name, it's the people, the pride, the sense that here, everyone belongs.
The fact that you're living this close to the ocean, right? You're less than a quarter mile from the ocean, and it's still that small town feel. There is a party element to it, but it's not what it used to be. I could attest to what it used to be as growing up here.
Yes, yes.
So it's definitely not what it used to be. You have a lot less party houses than you used to. You have more people owning homes. You do still have some renters, but those renters are not the party animal houses that they used to be. So it's really a nice, quaint, quiet, small community.
In a time when many small towns are searching for identity, Lake Como has found its own. One rooted in community and now captured on the page. Lake Como may be small, but it holds something mighty, heart, history, and a story that now lives far beyond its borders. Because every town deserves to be seen, and every community deserves to be remembered. This past weekend, New Jersey gubernatorial candidates Mikie, Sherrill, and Jack Ciattarelli faced off in their first debate. The town hall-style event was presented by the New Jersey Globe, On New Jersey, and Rider University, with the team producing more than 5 hours of live coverage. Leading it all was Laura Jones, host of New Jersey Politics with Laura Jones, which airs right after this show. She joins me now to share what it was like at the helm of one of the most significant debates in our state's history. Laura, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me on. What a night.
This is like a MeTV weekend remix. I love it.
It is definitely a remix. It was an incredible night because there are two parts to the night. There was 1,600 people in an auditorium for a live town hall debate, and then there was a production that hundreds of thousands of people watched. I mean, I don't know what the numbers are yet. They're still growing, which is the beauty of things that are streaming. More and more people are able to watch this. So it was an incredible night on many levels.
As of this conversation, 250,000 viewers.
Incredible. That's incredible. And one of the things that we did when we were putting this town hall debate together. We've hosted other debates where you have a panel and we have our questions set in advance and we know this person's going to get 60 seconds, this one is another 60 seconds, and then there's rebuttal, this and that. The moderators and the panelists take a lot of time putting their questions together. But what the thinking was behind a town hall style debate is we've got to get the people. You know, people who live in the community, work in the community, go to school in the community. We want to hear from what they have to say, not this perfect polished question that's filled with policy that might yield good information to the viewers, but sometimes you really want to know, I can't afford my electric bill. What are you going to do? And that was really important to connect to the viewers. And that's one of the things I love doing when it comes to politics, is making it accessible to people.
And the candidates did great. I thought they were engaging, they were informative, but I want to talk about you. Because, I mean, you're I know I'm biased, but I really truly think you're the best at what you do. I don't know anybody else that could have commanded that room like you did. I mean, we had 1,600 people in the audience.
Right. So I was having to deal with an audience, 1,600 people, right? And they were milling around, they were talking, they were reacting, they were clapping, they were yelling, shouting, booing, some were cursing, right? I had to keep them in mind. I had to listen to the candidates. Not only listen to them, I'm monitoring the clock to make sure they're sticking to time. I'm also paying attention to what the panelists are asking and keeping them on track. You know, you're directing a lot of traffic. And then you're trying to actually listen, because sometimes I need to follow up and say, well, did you actually answer that question? Or, you know, follow up, let's clarify, or wait a minute, was that an attack? So there are a lot of things going through my mind during that debate. And, you know, sometimes you have to expect the unexpected. And sometimes when things happen on live TV, you just roll with it and enjoy it. And so that's what I tried to do, was be ready and as prepared as possible, but also expect that, hey, something could happen. A candidate could go rogue. A questioner could go rogue. And we tried to think through as many scenarios as possible for the panelists, for the candidates, for the audience, and also security-wise as well. This was a massive event that a lot of people don't know what went into this.
Oh, I mean, we should have a documentary produced on it, because it was weeks, starting with the end of July when ELEC selected on New Jersey. I mean, they bypassed MSNBC, CNN, News 12, I mean, most of the local channels here in New York, New Jersey, and they went with streaming because that is the future, and that's a huge responsibility. It took an army to produce this. I mean, over 25 people, the prep that you had to do. I mean, the pressure was on, but once the lights came on, you delivered. We all did.
And one of the things that we don't want to do is play gotcha with the candidates. You know, we want to keep the questions to ourselves. You know, you don't want to give them any information ahead of time. But, you know, you want to ensure that, you know, the candidates are going to be as authentic as possible. You know, there is a lot of prep work that goes into it. And then, like I said, you have to expect the unexpected and then be ready to roll with it. We want our product to look good, but most important, we want good information going out to the voters, because Election Day is coming up in just a few weeks.
Yeah. Well, what I give you credit for is, I've known you now for 5 years. I don't know what side of the aisle you were on. I don't want to know. That's not the question. But that's what makes you stand out from the rest, because a lot of debate moderators, especially on the national level, they insert themselves. And it becomes a situation where the candidate is debating the moderator. And that's not how it should be.
Right, and that's one thing as a reporter, I don't ever want to make it about myself. And sometimes, even when I was a State House reporter, you're supposed to do a stand-up, which means you're supposed to kind of insert yourself into the story. But sometimes I would be doing a story and I'm thinking, well, I'm not adding value to the story. This is the story, the person telling me this, the politician, whoever it is I'm doing the story on. So to a certain degree, it is easier to kind of pull yourself out of it and say, go ahead, let them talk. And I really enjoy hearing perspectives I agree with, perspectives I disagree with, perspectives that I've never thought of before. That's what makes it fun. Sure, I have certain things in my mind where I'm thinking, yeah, I like that, but I also will say, oh yeah, I totally see that, or I didn't think about it from there. So I'm a curious person. I love learning things, and every time I go out there, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to interact with people who are going to be our next governor, to cover that, to be able to go into the State House and ask elected officials questions. Wow, that is a tremendous privilege and a gift, and I never want to take that for granted. I never want to make an assumption that our audience knows something or doesn't know something, so I try not to dumb things down for them. I want them to be a part of the conversation and come away saying, I learned something tonight. And wow, they didn't talk over each other. And oh, that moderator didn't make it about herself or himself. Because sometimes you do tune in and it's like, when you get to the question, you stop talking about, okay, we see that you know the issues. I know certain issues. I don't know other issues. So I try not to make it about myself and make it more about the people. You want your guests to look good. So that's what I try to keep in the back of my mind. And I feel very, very fortunate that when I'm at an event, people will come up to me, they will talk to me from both sides of the aisle, you know, Republican, Democrat, Independent, people who don't even know. I love when young people come up to me and will ask me questions. You know, we had a 12-year-old and I was able to engage with him who was asking some of the questions at the debate. We had somebody who was 96 years old asking questions. So it's just, it's so wonderful to be able to interact with people like that. I'm not perfect, but I love that, you know, if I pick up the phone, people will often answer. It's just like, what do you think? Oh, okay. Let you talk, and I let them talk.
Well, Laura, it was
It's
an
awesome.
honor producing this with
Thank
you
you.
and Micah, David Wildstein, Kevin Sanders, obviously our production brother, Gerald D'Ambra. None of that happens without him.
And shout out Pam.
Oh, Pam, in the control room, the master. I mean, the way she flawlessly executes the technical directing, doesn't even break a sweat. She's got 20 different things happening at the same time. Doesn't miss a beat.
And Ivy, too.
Ivy, too.
We could keep going on and on.
We need a whole other segment to shout out
We do.
Ivy. I mean,
Sean,
producer
Izzy,
extraordinaire.
like, the
I
list
mean,
goes on.
But the most important, sorry to say, Sammy Fusaro, our makeup artist.
Oh, she did a beautiful job.
Always.
She made us up today.
Yes. Laura, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lisa.